Okay, thank you for singing and opening up this painting episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of me painting again. Oh yeah, we're painting again, and today we're going to be painting a magical scene with a statue of a guy with a sword and some trees and all sorts of amazing things, even steps. I'm not talking about the band. Right, let's go. Let's start this one. Boink. So this is a sketch that I did in my sketchbook. I've got a black sketchbook which I just paint ideas in. I quite like using a black sketchbook because, well, we've gone forward in time there. Yeah, I like using a black sketchbook. It's a fun way to create painting ideas. So my wooden palette's out, and I'm grabbing some alizarin crimson and Prussian blue and tappy tap on the 1-inch brush. My canvas is almost grey, so it's a greyish. It's got black gesso on it, and then I thought, I don't think I want a black gesso canvas for this one. I want it to be more of a greyish, so I put a thin coat of white gesso on top of the black gesso, which creates a grey gesso, almost. Close enough for me. So I'm spreading out, scrubbing, really, the paint on. And the reason I'm scrubbing it on is because I want it to be transparent. And that way you can see through it a little bit, and it catches a bit of the white that's already on there. And therefore isn't as dark as it would have been if it was a black canvas, or if I didn't scrub it. I've got a big drink today. I'm keeping hydrated because I was at work this morning, and I needed a big cup of tea to rehydrate and stop feeling good, because I'm thinking painting, and I've got a really good painting idea to do, as good as this one. I'm going to start doing different sorts of things in my painting routine. So when you get a hair stuck in your gesso, it's really annoying. And I couldn't get it. The more I try, the more the more paint I get on my finger. So this canvas actually is a canvas that I've used, and I did a painting on it, and I hated the painting, to be honest. It's quite a while ago, and I scraped it all off, and it just left a bit of a stain on the canvas, and it's been left in for maybe, must be a few years now actually, this canvas. And I thought, sod it, I'm going to use it. Get some gesso on it and give it a go. So this painting may or may not fall off in the future, but, who cares? So what I've done, because I've sketched it, I've got an idea of what I want to do, but as I say, my sketches, my ideas are just that, and I like to go with whatever happens when I'm painting it, and then I create a freedom to do whatever whatever I like, and that kind of freedom to do whatever you like is powerful, and it makes you happy, puts that painting smile on your face. And you want to be painting with that painting smile on your face. You don't want to be painting with a painting frown. as an upside down smile. So really what I'm doing here, now I'm using a 1-inch brush, I am drawing. I'm blocking in areas that I think it's going to be sky, it's going to be ground. I'm sort of putting in where the steps are going to be, because I'm doing some old steps down at the bottom based on some steps that I know of actually. I find it interesting going to old places where it's just ruins, and where the ruins are, oh, itchy nose, where the ruins are so ruined there's barely anything left, and I still find that interesting. It's a place where really trying to get that hair out, I just couldn't get it. I think it was behind the gesso, behind the gesso, behind the gesso, behind some paint, and behind that gesso, underneath that paint. So I'm getting some sap green into this. Now, if you wanted to use a medium on the canvas, you can. If you wanted to make it easier to get the paint on. I'm at the moment that I don't use any. I just put the paint straight on because I don't really want to use any medium anymore. I don't really want to use anything with something that I can suck up through my nose. So at least I know the paint is just oil and pigment. That's what I'm saying, really. But you use whatever you like. I just I just do. I'm lazy. If I put medium on, I've got to put that on. Then I've got to put the paint on. When I can just put the paint straight on. You can do that. Doesn't matter. They've been doing this sort of thing for centuries. Blocking in method. This is the blocking in method. If you're wondering. You block in all your colours, and then you can think about what you want to do. Because in my mind, I've always got a bit of a plan, got a bit of an idea. So after you've done a few paintings, you can kind of work ahead of yourself. So you can think, oh, if I do that, if I block that in that colour and not have much paint on, therefore I can put the lights on and it should go on okay. So I'm thinking like that. So I'm grabbing some white on the fan brush. I'm gonna have to keep drinking this. So I'm thinking, alright, I want some cloud. I don't want too much of a statement in this sky. If you watched my last one, the one that you can just see behind this canvas, I really went for it in the sky because that's what I really wanted to concentrate on it. It's a good one, that is good, worth watching. It's interesting. Well, I would say that. I created it. Yes, I can guarantee it will change your life. Not sure if it'll change your life in a good way. No, it's a good painting. It's a good one. I bet if you painted that, you'd sell it. No problem. No problem. Maybe. So, we're getting some white to create a distant hill there. You see how you can do that? So what I'm thinking with this lighting, it looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Because the sky is still dark. I keep seeing this kind of lighting where it's the sky's dark, but then the ground is lit up by the sun because the sun's really low in the sky, and it's lighting up the ground. I find it really strange. I keep seeing it. So I thought I'll paint it. It's affected me. So I'm grabbing a bit of red into my white. That's vermilion. Oh no. Was it vermilion red? No. It was a bit of cadmium red. That was cadmium red. I don't know why I did that. I was trying to look around my hand. Oh my goodness. So I'm just using the 1-inch brush just to soften things. Just softening it. Softening things. Yeah, there's not a great deal of paint on there. There's another hair there, look. Don't know how many paintings down it is though. So I'm looking at my sketch, which, if you were interested in that sketch, it's on my Facebook page. There's the link in the description. You could print that out if you wanted. If you wanted to do it the same as me, print out the sketch and work from the sketch. Or do your version, change it. These episodes, they're just for ideas. Don't feel you have to do it exactly the same. You can change it, do whatever you like. It's just to give you ideas, to give you ways to do things. I'm just grabbing some cad yellow, bit of cad red. I think I chucked in a bit of Indian. Was it Indian? Oh no, it was yellow ochre there. That was yellow ochre. I'm getting confused with my colours. I've been making paints again. I'm trying out this formula to make a really good mountain mix. And then I'm going to start trying that out. So using a fan brush, just lightening up this hill in the background. I didn't want to have it as a mountain. I saw it more of a hill type, one of those kind of sharpish hills. You see some hills like that in like Derbyshire. If you know England. So I'm grabbing a bit of dark, a bit of the burnt umber, a bit of white in there to have a look at what I got really. I wanted to see what it was. So a bit of brown, a bit of green, a bit of yellow on the fan brush. You'll notice on my palette there's not very many colours. You see some people's palettes and it's covered in different hues of paint. And I think to myself, that must be hard going to have all those different paints on there, because when you mix in your colours, it's a lot easier to not have as many colours, because by doing that you have more control over so many colours rather than thinking about lots of different colours. That makes no sense, does it? Let me think about this one. So if you have a limited palette and you have a limited amount of colours, you have a limited amount of options. Therefore, you get to understand the colours that you've limited yourself to more. So you become the master of those colours. That makes more sense. Don't forget, paint has its own limitations. You can't paint what you see. You can get as close as you can, but you can't, because your eyes are way, way, way much better than paints. And even a camera can only get so much information. I know they're making cameras better and better and better these days, with HDR photography and stuff, but still they're limited. Well, they are when I use them anyway. So you've got to think about that when you're painting. You can only get it so far. And I think they say 25% of the scale of what light and that you can see. Don't quote me on that one. Let's just say it's a lot less. So that's why you've got to think about decisions, exaggerations, things like that. So there's dark trees. I want to create a contrast area between the background and then the trees. You could leave them dark or you could highlight them. It's up to you. I think if I left them dark, it would look pretty good as well. And that was just a mixture of alizarin crimson, Prussian blue, a little bit of green in there. You get these nice purpley colours because of that. And because I haven't added any white into my dark, and it's quite transparent, you get a really nice colour. Because it's transparent, it just looks really nice. There's no white lighting it up. It's a bit of a trick that they use when they glaze, because when you're glazing and doing paintings, you get a more of a luminous colour. That's a good word, isn't it? Luminous. Oh, your painting's luminous, darling. I'm sure they would say that in the art gallery. Maybe not. So I'm just highlighting the trees. Using the fan brush again. I like the fan brush. I'm really starting to feel at home with the fan brush. And the knife, now I'm just scraping out paint. So this is, it's a really old method, scraping paint off and revealing the canvas underneath. So when you've got the white or grey or whatever colour canvas you've got, a lot of the masters would paint their canvas a reddish tone and paint on that. And then when you scrape off, you reveal that undertone, that undercolour that you can then use. It's a neat little trick. Look at that. I was like, it's going to take ages to do the grass. Let's go back to the 1-inch brush. Tappy, tappy, tap. Pull it, and then tap. Look at that. You tap it, so you get an even distribution of colour. And then tap, 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 tap. Thinking about the lay of the land, if you want it to be flat, maybe this is an old field. Yeah, this whole area is old because this is the ancient area. Wait, an ancient civilization where they all used to worship the great warrior, the one-armed warrior prince called Jason. Yeah, this warrior that we named Jason, the off chance that it's also my name, but well, we'll go with it. And he would fight with giants and dragons, and he would battle alongside dwarfs, beating off evil armies of monstrous skeletons. So we're doing some grass. We'll change the subject. We'll move on from that story. It was getting a little bit wild. So we're just tapping, getting some grass down there. So when you're doing your painting, really get into it. I get right into it. Start really getting into a story or creating a history, and it makes the painting more fun. You start enjoying yourself more. Really getting into it more. So thinking about, like I said, the lay of the land when you're doing your grass. Thinking if you want it flat, do you want it rounded, do you want lots of dips? Just think about things like that when you're doing the grass. And then it will come across in the painting. So using the liner brush, I picked up a little bit of white and a little bit of burnt umber. And my white is a finish white because it's my... I haven't named it yet. But I'm making my own paint, so I like to make quite a thin white, almost like a traditional paint. In fact, it's probably very close to a traditional painter's white. It's quite thin, but very opaque because of the pigment load. I mean, it's just pigment and oil in that paint that I've made. It's an artist quality paint. I really like it. Of course I would, I made it. I'm going to do a video on how to make your own paint, because I know a few people have asked. So and it's on my agenda. So I'm just adding a few highlights, a little bit of yellow. Again, think about what colour you want your tree's leaves to be. You could have red leaves, depending on how much of a focus point you want this tree to be. And, yeah, think like that. Do I want it to be a focal point? And then you make your decision using that idea. Because in the sketch, that tree was small. It wasn't as big as that. But I felt like that tree could be that size. And I just went with it. Now, using another brush. This is just a flat brush. I'm just, you know, like when you're doing mountains and you pull a mountain out. And if this is the first episode you've seen, you'll notice. If this is the first episode you've seen, you probably need to watch another one, and then you'll get the reference about mountains. Because when you do a mountain, you pull out the paint so you can see the highlights and shadows. Well, I'm considering this statue to be a mountain. So I'm pulling down the paint so I can create the shape, and I'm not committed. You see it? I mean, you can just about see a shape there, but it's not. I've not committed myself too much yet. I'm going to, though. So then I grab some paint, and you always remember, the worst comes to the worst. You can change it, you can get the knife, and you can scrape it off and start again. So there's no need to worry when you're painting. You can always... I mean, you could scrape the whole painting off and then wipe it down and start again. There's just no need to worry about making a mistake. So just go for it. Be brave. Go for it. So I've made sort of a dull greyish colour, because this statue that I've drawn, it was a dull greyish colour. And I like to go with things that I've seen and try and use that and put it into my painting. There is a statue that I really want to go paint, but it's in a really awkward position. There's like a bit of a garden and then a fence around it, but the fence and everything's really open. And I really wish it was a bit more closed in, so I'm not painting on the corner of the street in a very busy area. Kind of want to be hidden away. So I'm just putting some dark in now because the light is coming in from left to right. Left to right. So I'm doing stroke at a time. Thinking, stroke, think, stroke. Don't worry, don't panic. If it all goes wrong, remember, just scrape it off. And if it all goes terribly wrong, close the curtains. Don't tell anybody. Get rid of the evidence. And then you can start again. So you can see I'm thinking there's a base there, there's an arm there, there's a bit of a pad. I created like a padding on the shoulder because I just imagined like armor on the shoulders. One arm in the sketch, I decided I would have it broken off. Because when me and Clive went to London, and I'll put a video in the description of us going to see statues and things in the British Museum. There's a lot of statues where the arms over time have been broken off. So I thought to myself, maybe this old statue got his arm broken off at one point. Yeah, part of the story, part of the aging idea. So that was making a blue there, Prussian blue, bit of lizard and crimson, making a cold blue, thinking the opposite side to where the sun is hitting, I'm adding a bit of blue. In reality, would there be any blue there? Probably not. But because this is my world, my painting, why not have make that stone look cold on that side? Put some blue in. Blue tells you cold. So if I did red on the opposite side, then you would say, well, that looks hot, that doesn't look cold. And if I put purple, you might think, well, that looks kind of magical. It's amazing how colours make you express an emotion. So I'm getting some cad yellow, cad red, a bit of white. What I'm making here really is a like a cadmium yellow deep, quite a strong yellow. Notice I used a thin white as well. My thin white's the bottom one. It's just so it sticks, because as you know, a thin paint will stick to a thicker paint. So you start off with your driest paint, and then you get thinner and thinner, and then it sticks. And with light pressure, I could kind of think, right, there's a helmet on. I've gone for almost, not quite Viking, not quite Norman. Who knows what it is? Maybe it is more Viking. I don't know. I just wanted a helmet. And I was thinking about the jaw, the head. I was thinking shapes. Keeping it quite simple though. I didn't want to over detail anything. Because this model was made, this stone sculpture was chipped out of this rock that was that was found in the middle of a volcano where there was a great battle, and Jason, the awesome warrior, fought off 50 giants with one arm. And so yeah, so anyway, losing the plot again. I'm thinking about the shapes, thinking about where the light's hitting. thinking this statue is quite old as well. And when you see really old statues that have been outside, they start getting very smooth because of the rain and things, start wearing it away. So I was thinking that while I was painting as well. I was really trying to get my brain connecting to it. Look at that. That just didn't work. When you do more than one stroke, you lose that freshness. I kind of find it amusing watching myself struggle in a way. Painting, though, it's a challenge, isn't it? So I'm adding a bit more blue now. Bit of blue here, blue there. Imagining maybe there's some light hitting from above as well, some from the side. Mostly from that one side, though. So you could paint this in stages. You don't have to paint this all in one go like I'm doing. You could paint this in a more traditional method. Even if you did paint it all in one go and you wanted to change it, just wait for it to dry. Use a slightly, very minorly oilier paint on the top of it, and you're fine to keep going. And to know that you can do that is a good thing, because I've done portraits and quite complex scenes where I did one where there was about 50 or 60 people in it. I mean, it was a hard one. There was so much to do. When I first started it, I was like, oh my goodness, what have I said yes to? But I just plug away, do a bit at a time. I generated this technique of painting faces in one go, and I just did like 4 or 5 people's faces in a row, and I was like, I sat back, had a look, and I was like, whoa, they actually look real. And I was amazed, and just I think sometimes a bit of confidence helps, a bit of self-belief. And then when you've done your painting and you get a big smile from the person that's now owning the painting that you've slogged out on. It's a good feeling, and it's especially good when you're learning as you're doing it, because the next time you have a bit more knowledge. And I'm always happy that I've learned a bit more. See, I'm kind of moulding this paint. I'm moving it. I'm picking up a bit of dark, picking up a bit of light, and then I'll put a bit of dark in, a bit of light in. And I don't go to a smaller brush. I try and stick with this same size brush, because if I go for a small brush, I'm going to start doing tiny little marks all over the place, and I'll be there all day and I'll never get anywhere. So try and stick with biggish brushes. But we've got a nice bit of light casting on the Great Warrior. So I'm just thinking about the muscular chest and the abs. Got to make it realistic to the character. And then thinking of the stone, the light, just going zip, zip, zip in areas. Trying to get the eyes in a sort of a position. And I was thinking about making the face sort of broken a bit as well, but there was one statue where half the face was all like broken. I think I'll leave that for another challenge. I grabbed a little bit of yellow ochre and put a little bit of that on the top there. Just thinking stone and the way stone ages and yeah, that's it's coming on, isn't it? It's coming on. Don't forget, I expect you to do better. Maybe do a different type of statue. Maybe you could do a horse. That's a good idea. Maybe I should do one with a horse in it. I like painting horses. They're if you're interested in selling paintings, people love paintings of horses. You'll be surprised when you do a couple of horse paintings and people just start going, "Oh, Jason does horse paintings. Can you paint my horse?" "Oh, I didn't know you had a horse." So I put a bit of light on that sword because I wanted to exaggerate the sword. And the that greyish colour that I've put in here and there, I'm thinking of that as sky colour coming down and hitting areas. Back to the old fan brush, the trusty fan brush, and we'll just plant that in there. Get some grass growing around it. Make it look like it's been there a while. Just pushing up. And then I'll leave some of that purple because it just really looks really nice. It's a really nice effect. Kind of gives the ground some magic to it, actually, leaving some. And now I'm thinking, I need to work on the steps and I need to work on some trees. So I grabbed some, it was a bit of black, a bit of white. Oh, wait a sec. I was making my black. It was white, a bit of the yellow, a bit of the red, and a little bit of brown and a bit of blue as well. It's pretty much a mixture of all the colours. But to the light side. And then I get more brown on my brush to make it darker. It's kind of so you go lighter and then go darker as you go along, because you can do a whole tree without blending or anything. You just do lots of brush strokes, or you could load your brush up and do it in one stroke. If you do your dark and light, dark on one side of the brush and light on the other, and just go one. But I've got more control if I do it that way. And I like to have a bit of control. It's got a few little branches and things coming up from the bottom. I notice you get a lot of those. And then using the liner. I find if I let the liner go flat against the canvas and then wiggle it, I get more interesting shapes. Like that, look. Just giving it a wiggle. Wheel out the branches. And these trees, in the front, they send back the other tree. They send back the mountain. They even send back the statue a little bit, which works good for us. We want a bit of depth in the painting. As I'm picking up a bit of dark, just putting a bit more dark on that tree here and there. We don't know what kind of tree that is. Maybe it's a silver birch, or it could be something else. Who knows? I just think tree shape. I wasn't thinking what type of tree it was really. That's something when I was out teaching painting, and I was showed this technique on doing a tree. I was using the fan brush actually. And he says, "Oh, what kind of tree is that?" And I said, "Well, whatever tree you like." He's like, "Oh, but I need to know what type it is." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, I just need to know." I was like, "Well, whatever tree you want it to be." And he was like, "Well, I want it to be an oak tree." I was like, "Well, it's an oak tree then." I'd kind of know what he meant. He wanted it to be more technically correct, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to study the trees. If you want to paint oak trees, you've got to study oak trees. So I'm picking up a little bit of blue in my colour, and I'm sticking it on the tree to get that shadow side again, bit of a cool light. It's good to get a bit of that coolness in the tree. It does make it better. I like it anyway. Some more yellow ochre. Cad yellow, sap green, alizarin crimson, loading the brush, and then pushing up. Easy this. Even if you've never painted a picture before, you can do this kind of technique. It's so easy. So easy it makes you laugh a little bit. You're amazed at how quickly you can paint in grassy areas, and yeah, big smile is out again. So I'm putting some light areas in places because I'm imagining there's pockets of light coming out from behind clouds and things. It's the kind of lighting that I've been seeing out and about, so and then thinking about the mood, like I was saying about the mood of the painting. Use your colours and your lighting to create a mood. So I grabbed some, I just chucked on a bit of Prussian blue there, making some dark. That's all I really wanted. Just chucked on a few leaves. I want some leaves because then you can send back that mountain a bit further, well, hill, mountainy thing, a bit further back. And also, these trees, they work as a frame. They're framing the character. You can even use branches to point at the character if you wanted to add a little bit more. So just grabbing a bit of yellow, just a bit of just switching the colours up a little bit and adding a bit more highlight to the trees. There we go, a little bit of highlight there. Nice bit of highlight in the trees there. Not too much. Don't want it to be too bright. Keep it fairly dull, because I want the bright area. I say that, and there I was chucking on some really light lights, which really shouldn't be there. Look at that, that's awful. I've ruined it now. Right, I'm going to stop this and start again. No, I realised that was too light there. So I grabbed some dark. It's alright having pockets of light, I don't mind that. But I don't want a huge blob of light there. And then I can knock them away a bit, see. You can use your powers there. Powers of a painter to knock back lights. And now I'm just throwing in some dark down here. I didn't really work this out when I was doing my sketch. I didn't quite work out what I was going to do here. I was thinking in my head, sometimes when you're walking somewhere, you get an area that's dark, but the thing that I didn't think about was where the light is. And I say that to people, don't forget where's the light coming from. And there I was painting away, not thinking about where the light's coming from. and that simple thing will get you out of a lot of problems when you're painting. Just ask yourself that question, and then you're off, you're away again, painting away again. But yeah, it's just blocking in again, blocking in that dark. Who knows what I'm doing on my palette? I remembered. Yay. Getting some green, some brown, a different brush. I want to start putting in the staircase. See, when I'm painting, it's very easy to forget to show the palette. Luckily, I'm showing it. Sometimes you think, oh well, everyone will know what I'm doing, but you really need to show. So once again, here we are, we're blocking in some steps. We've got an old staircase here, or maybe just an old set of a few stairs, and this is where it would lead you into an amazing garden filled with great statues and buildings and a whole empire of amazing stuff. But like what happens in a lot of places, the building's gone, and all that's left is an old stone staircase. And where I used to walk my dog, it was true there. There was an old staircase one end and an old stone staircase the other end, and the great home that was once there was gone. It was just a few staircases and a few trees that was once planted. A shame, really. A shame in one way, and not a shame in another way. A shame that the building's gone and everything, and it's all changed, but in another way, if that building wasn't gone, I wouldn't have been allowed there, so... And I spent many years walking around that park. Many years. Looking at what was there and not actually knowing. And when I did find out, I was pretty amazed. So I'm just putting a bit of light, a bit of white in my mixture, really, to create where the stairs are. So steps are quite easy to paint, actually. well, not really easy, but fairly easy to create an illusion of steps, I should say. Just think lines of light and dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. I've sat outside and done a painting of just steps before, so I've got an idea. It's a bit funny, isn't it? And people see you out, and there you are. You've got like this amazing landscape around you. You've got amazing like buildings and things, and if you walk round the corner, you could see amazing like mountains and great scenery. And there I am painting the steps. I think that's funny. So I'm adding some light on the steps, imagining the light is going down here. I quite like that colour actually on the steps. I wish I used that colour on the statue maybe. It's got a bit more red in it. Be a bit warmer. I don't know. Because the statue does stand out quite well. So I'm going into some dark. So you can play around with the shapes of the steps. A lot of old steps actually have a curve in them where people have walked up and down them. Quite good to look at old steps and things. And then you can add that bit of, that little detail of realism. I don't want to say realism because people will then say, oh, well, realism is where you paint something that looks like a photo. So when I say realism, what I mean is just something that I see from nature and I try and put that into my paintings. So just thinking about the light hitting that as well, and curving those brush strokes round because it's a round structure. Using brush strokes to create shape. And then light hitting there as well. Then I always sit back, have a look, see if I like it, and then I come back to it and change it however I feel. However I feel. Using the almighty power of the paint, power of the mind as well. So I'm just putting some grass down here. Just blocking in again. I'm blocking in with a little brush now. Sometimes you get a bit lazy and you don't want to change brushes. So you could do more with this. You could add like little statues on the staircase. You could do all sorts of things. I've got this idea to do a painting of an old house, and then a bit more to it. I'm planning on doing that one. Whether it happens as a video is yet to be seen. If it works out, there will be a video. If it doesn't, you will never hear me speak of it again. Because it means it hasn't worked. So now we've got a staircase in. I've grabbed some blue, and I think the same way I've done the statue, I've gone for some blue here on this side. I haven't quite gone wide enough. I really wish I went wider than at the bottom part. And then I thought I'll add a bit of blue in there for where the shadow of the step is. Just to cool that area down. and thinking, oh, there's a bit of land here. I put a little bit of blue in. Thinking about where the lights come from. So I'm starting to think about that now. And then I thought, oh, where the light is, there would be a bit of light here. I won't have it completely dark. So maybe there's a tree covering up some of the light. Or maybe that does actually go in. So I started messing around with the fan brush and creating different strokes. I say strokes, I'm just touching and pushing. And then I'm sort of bringing it out. Creating that illusion that it's coming out anyway. I'm thinking about that tree as well. I'm starting to think to myself, it'd be quite good if I bring that tree forward. How could I do that? I almost... I think it would have been a mistake. I was almost going to bring that tree right down and then it would have been planted in front of all this. But I changed my mind, luckily. I'm just getting some more light areas in. Just to create that illusion that this is in front of that part. It comes out. It's interesting what you can do, isn't it, with paint? I'm always amazed by what you can do with oil paints, or acrylic paints, or watercolors, gouache. I'm a big fan of traditional media. I also dabble with digital art, but it's not my main focus. I'm a painter, so any kind of painting's fun for me, especially this when I'm getting on that canvas and going for it. It is really, really good fun. So I'm loading my brush. I load my brush both sides and then just come in and just push up and sit back, have a look, do a bit more, keep loading that paint on. If you really want to, scrub it on like that. Doesn't really matter how you get that paint on there. It's really dark colour that I wanted there. And I thought, the grass is starting to grow down here. And then some of it, maybe it's growing on the step. So I just push up a little bit on the actual step. You can do that. There's a staircase not far from me. And not far at all, actually. Through the woods. In the middle of the woods, actually. And there was a whole really old house there. And the house is gone. There's only like this old room with a boiler in it. Really small room. And then there's this old staircase. And it looks amazing, though, because there's roots growing all over it. I decided to push that tree back. So I just pushed it into the paint. Pushed the paint in. And then I put it back where it originally should have been. I didn't like it there, where I put it. So there you go. That's how to push a tree back. Yeah, and this staircase, with all these roots growing over it. I kind of thought about that staircase when I was painting that one. I was thinking about 3 staircases. All look the same, really. They're all like Victorian staircases. So I'm grabbing a bit of yellow, a bit of brown, liner brush, a bit green. I'm twizzling it to get a sharper point. And like I was saying about branches and things and roots and stuff growing. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a thing there, and then a few more of these growing at the bottom of there. You could go for it with detail on this if you wanted. I just thought about a root. Thinking about roots growing from that tree outwards. Protruding roots. So I'm thinking about what I've seen. I'm always trying to include what I've seen out and about in my paintings. Always doing that. And I'm really observing people at the moment. I'm trying to train my mind to look at the simple shapes of a person walking around and things. So that's my new my new challenge. So then I can just chuck people into my paintings easily. Here's to hoping. So I'm using a liner just to wiggle out a tree there. Maybe it's not as old, so it's not as big. It's a younger tree. Has a bit of light on it. Bit of sunlight. Putting a few branches in here and there. You can really go for it. Like I said, you can really go for it with detail. Getting a bit of dark from the shadow of the statue. A little bit of dark there. You could stretch that shadow right out if you wanted. Because I think that shadow would be quite a long stretched shadow. And then throwing in a bit more light. A bit of light. If you put some light in, it makes the dark darker. So it makes that shadow a bit darker when you have light. There we go. Bit of light there. So you can see the lights going zing to the statue. And that also works as a composition point to say, look at that statue. There's a line going to it. I started playing this. I'm playing now. This is the point where you need someone to grab your brush off you. Say, yo, stop. That's enough. I started thinking, oh, you get some moss growing on these stone as well. I'll start putting some moss in. And I was like, oh, right. Could do with these grass bits in. I'm okay with me doing that. Yeah, that fan brush is fantastic. Really like the fan brush, really like it. I'm really enjoying using it at the moment. If you haven't got a fan brush, get yourself a fan brush. They're fantastic brushes. You want one that's not a soft one. Don't get a soft blender type fan brush. Oh, this is the point where there's a statue that I've seen quite a lot. It's always got a bird sat on it. It always amuses me because, well, it's not funny really, because the statue, it's a commemorative statue. Not easy for me to say, and there's always this bird pooping on top of it. And I haven't really painted many birds sat around or on trees and stuff, and it really shows when I try and make up a bird, thinking in my mind how this bird looked sat on the statue. I couldn't do it really, not simplified enough. It's not quite right. I couldn't think of how it looks. So then I thought, I really need to start drawing more little birds. I mean, it's not too bad. It does look like a little bird from... That's the head and a bit of the body. I mean, you can see it's a bird, but then I thought a bit of light on the wing. But it started to turn into a chicken. And I was like, oh, I don't really like this chicken sat on top of the head, so we can get rid of that. If you don't use much paint and you're using a limited palette, like I said, and you're using the same colours, then you can just blend it away like that. And just blend it away. It won't make any difference. I'll just put a bit of light to get rid of it. So there we go. There's the finished painting. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's a bit more challenging. It's a bit more of a challenging one, but it's a good fun one, and might give you ideas, and maybe it'll help you paint something that you've had in your mind and you didn't know how to get it started, and this one has given you a little bit of a, ooh, yeah, I know how to get it started now, so I'm going to go for it. Anyway, that's my hope anyway. So thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully see you at another one. Don't forget to click on that like button, say how amazing it is, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Cheers, bye.